Thanks for joining us on the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, the contract has been signed for Phase 2 of the Savanne Water Project. A services sector policy and expansion plan for Dominica is under discussion, and beekeepers are set to benefit from an apiculture development project. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
A lot of bathtubs are blamed for bruises. Some staircases are accused of being responsible for broken bones. Doors are occasionally viewed suspiciously as causing lesions. A high percentage of tables are accused of producing bleeding or trauma. Violence against women is a crime, and it's everyone's responsibility. It's inexcusable. If you're a victim or witness of physical or psychological violence or abuse, seek help and denounce the perpetrator.
Thank you for staying with us. Work will soon begin on the second phase of the Savanne Water Supply Project. The project contract was signed at a ceremony in Scotshead on Thursday. General Manager of the Dominica Water and Sewerage Company, Bernard Etinoff, says while the initiative is costly, it is in fact a necessary one.
As the community grew and with expansion taking place at the higher elevations of Savanne and even above, the existing system became inadequate to serve the needs of the people of those elevations. It is for this reason that we are undertaking the second phase of the project, for which a contract will be signed shortly. This phase of the project will cost approximately $800,000. The contract sum is $492,273.43, while the purchase of pipes and fittings will cost approximately $308,000. This takes the total cost of the Scotshead Savanne Water System upgrade and extension to $1,620,812. I'm happy to report this afternoon that all of these funds have been provided by the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica with no loan to the WASCO.
Etinoff detailed the scope of the project.
The scope of this phase of the project is as follows: construction of a 30,000 imperial gallon circular concrete storage tank in Krabier, construction of a pump house and sump tank on the premises of the old primary school, installation of 2 electrical pumps and all the necessary electrical works, purchase of land on which the new storage tank will be constructed, installation of 2,500 feet of 3-inch HDPE supply and distribution pipelines to and from the tank and the pump house, and installation of 1,600 feet, 1,600 feet of Schedule 40 PVC washout pipes for proper drainage of the storage tank. We want to avoid contamination of the environment, we want to avoid pollution, and so adequate provisions have been made to ensure that all runoff water, and when we clean the tank, water can be adequately disposed of.
The Honorable Reginald Austrie, Minister for Lands, Housing, Settlements and Water Resource Management, who is also acting Prime Minister, also addressed Thursday's ceremony. He commented on government's progress in achieving a very important UN Millennium Development Goal.
By commissioning this water supply, we'll be getting closer to one of our major Millennium Development Goals, which is the provision of potable water to at least 100% of communities all across the island. And that is a goal set by the United Nations, that it seeks to eradicate poverty and to bring a better standard of living for the peoples all across the world. And while we're looking to celebrate 100%, many countries in the world are looking at 50% by 2015. So we're twice times ahead of the rest of the world as far as the provision of potable water is concerned.
The Honorable Parliamentary Representative for the Soufriere constituency, Sam Martin, told residents that the project in Savanne speaks volumes about the current DLP administration.
This afternoon again is a clear manifestation that this government, led by Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, always ensures that there is a better way of life for the residents of Dominica, and in that case, the residents of Savanne and Scottsdale by extension.
More on that story in a subsequent newscast. In other news, beekeepers around Dominica are getting support from Jeff's Small Grants program. Our GIS News crew joined them on Thursday as they launched a project to expand the industry. Nisha Charles brings us this report.
It's the first for beekeepers in Dominica as they are the grantees of the first strategic project under the Jeff Small Grants program. An apiculture development project was launched on Thursday to develop the industry in Dominica. The aim of the project is to increase capacity and the total number of hives in Dominica. National Coordinator of the Jeff Small Grants Program, Agnes Esprit, says it is an opportune time for beekeepers.
We consider it special because this is the first time that we're doing such a project that we refer to as a strategic project in Dominica. In that, we could go up to 150,000 US, and we felt that this was an opportune time to look at a sector development project. The name of the project, Apiculture Development Project, for short, towards a sustainable national apiculture industry in Dominica, encompassing biodiversity conservation, sustainable forest management, enhanced capacity of stakeholders, and increased livelihood opportunities.
Soul Cooperative, Pure Blossom Hive Cooperative, and the National Beekeepers Cooperative Society are the three grantees under the project.
The apiculture sector. The apiary sector is directly responsible for honey production, which has been a tasking venture for over 20 years for approximately 30 beekeepers on island. It is described as a taxing venture from lessons and experience of our past and present. Every beekeeper can share a bitter experience he or she has gone through. And in the same breath, if only bees could relate their stories to us, we would have a better understanding or appreciation for this project title. This project funded by Jeff is a pilot project which, if successful, will be the envy of many in the Caribbean. It will impact the economic situation of many by providing employment in various fields. There will be an increase in honey production, but most significantly, farmers' yields will increase because of the pollination by bees island-wide. The challenge for us, therefore, is to get this project right the first time.
The $147,000 US program involves the cooperatives, government, and other stakeholders that are interested in developing the apiary industry. A planning grant of $3,000 US was given to get the project started. In addition to the direct support to the cooperatives, the funded project aims to conserve the rich natural heritage that preserves Dominica's biodiversity.
This strategic apiculture project will provide an excellent opportunity to address focal areas such as conservation of biodiversity, land degradation, sustainable forest management, and food security. Hence, it is expected to impact livelihood and contribute to growth in the national economy. The objective will be achieved by creating a facilitating economic, institutional, and ecological environment for the apiculture industry. In particular, reforestation and conservation of bee-friendly trees and shrubs, market intelligence, certification, improved packaging, labeling by upgrading technical equipment for increased quantity and quality of local honey production. Diversification of honey-based products, developing product standard, raising public awareness of the nutritional values of honey and honey byproducts for food security, and the use and opportunities for livelihood. Or in simple terms, the project is expected to have a substantial impact in expanding opportunities for the poor to engage in sustainable livelihood for the youth, men, women and other vulnerable groups, and indigenous peoples.
The project would also enable expert beekeepers to become mentors and a new generation of community-based entrepreneurs interested in entering the apiary industry. From the Dominica State College, this is Nisha Charles reporting for GIS News.
Thank you, Nisha, for that report. The Bureau of Gender Affairs is getting ready to celebrate World Rural Women's Day. October 15th was set aside by the United Nations to recognize the work of rural women in the economic and social advancement of their communities and countries.
The World Conference, International Conference on Women, which is the fourth World Conference on Women, which was held in 1995 in Beijing in China, called on governments and of course the international bodies to recognize, to declare some sort of day, to give recognition to the concerns and the work and the efforts of women at the rural level. And that went through various discussions at various levels. And in 2007, I think, the United Nations declared declared a day to recognize the efforts and celebrate the involvement and contribution of women around the world.
Brown says the work of women in rural parts of Dominica continues to play a vital role in economic development. Not only is their support prominent in the area of food security, but in other sectors of society as well.
You find them in agriculture, you find them in industry, you find them in small business development, you find them as professionals.
She highlighted the work of the Bureau in assisting Dominican women in rural communities to overcome their challenges. The Bureau has worked with women across the island in projects such as poultry rearing in the north and beekeeping in the west. These projects have given rise to successful women farmer groups and individual women farmers.
One of those women farmers group that has really become very prominent and has been receiving a lot of, let's say airplay, if I should put it that way, is the Toloma Women's Group of Luce. And they came up, we did give them some assistance and to boost their production at the time when they were one of their concerns when you do the kind of needs assessment with the women in that area. One of their concern was, okay, they are involved in the Toloma just to plant in the background and what have you, but they are not able to get it to move the next level. So we provided a little project, we developed a little project, and through that project, they were able to do a lot with their Toloma and receive a lot of support. Other organizations, meanwhile, came on board and also helped them. And now they are packaging, they are doing all sorts of things.
This year, World Rural Women's Day forms part of the Independence calendar and will feature a culinary and art expo carded for October 12th in Lapland.
We give women a chance to showcase some of the traditional foods that they would provide, but presented at in a level that is that will be at a different, level, to showcase both the foods that they grow and that they prepare and provide for, to present them in different forms. Also to be given a chance to be educated on the services that may be available that they can access.
The Bureau has also organized a workshop to prepare women ahead of that event.
We're hoping that it will also be a day out for the family, and that people will come, besides coming to view the exhibits and share in the culinary items that will be presented by the women, and learn, get some information that of course you can make it a fun thing and that families can come together on that day.
The event is themed Inspiring Change, Creating Opportunities for Rural Women. In more news, as part of ongoing efforts to expand the export of services on the island, the government of Dominica and the Dominica Coalition of Service Industries have been facilitating the development of a services sector policy and expansion plan for Dominica. To bring this work to a close, the DCSI held a sensitization and validation workshop at the Fortune Hotel on Friday. Kimani Seja was on site and brings you more details in this report.
The focus of the work of the DCSI and government for this policy has been on non-tourism services. GIS News spoke with Lester Rivera, Executive Director of the DCSI, for more details.
When we think about services in Dominica, we immediately think about tourism and accommodation, especially maybe tour operators to some extent. But this plan focuses on sectors that are service related but are not especially or specifically tourism. So, and these sectors have been over the years neglected or overlooked as a development opportunity, economic development opportunity, having opportunity for job creation.
He highlighted the key areas of focus for Dominica.
We have had a national export strategy which has set the foundation and helped to establish an understanding as to what these non-tourism sectors are and for Dominica. And these sectors are the cultural industries or creative industries, more specifically music, audiovisual. We have health and wellness, spa-related industries. Also construction and construction-related engineers, architects, and also ICT and management and business consulting. So these are the non-tourism sectors. There are others, but these are the ones that we're focusing on in this expansion plan.
The government of Dominica has been active in the support and development of this process. Karen Prevost is the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Trade.
We are also looking at health and wellness, and we are looking at the priority areas with a view to developing and expanding the businesses, the firms, small businesses and firms within the sector. Now we have engaged, the government has engaged through the CDB, a consultant, Dr. Claudius Preville, and he is here today. He has been here this week to meet with the key stakeholders. We are here today to meet with the key stakeholders again to review the policy, review the expansion plan, the proposals that are part of the plan. We want to ensure that these activities that are proposed are suitable for the private sector. So we are liaising with the private sector, government's contribution to this process, the operationalization of the DCSI and the expansion of the services sector. To date, we've spent over $900,000, partly funded by the Caribbean Development Bank through the CAT Fund project, and also resources from the government of Dominica through the Ministry of Trade.
Dr. Claudius Preville, Chief Consultant of Preville and Associates Consulting Group, St. Lucia Limited, who is the key presenter at the workshop, has over 20 years of professional experience. June Arlene Griffin, consultant from the Technical Division of the Caribbean Development Bank, also forms part of the facilitating team. It is anticipated here today that sufficient contributions will be made by the various stakeholders to create a draft services sector policy and expansion plan for Dominica. The DSCI was established in 2009 with support of the government of Dominica. From the Fortune Hotel, Kimani Seja for GIS News.
Thank you, Kimani, for that report. Let's now join Colette Ambo for a recap of the week's headline stories.
Welcome to this week's edition of a Flashback. In the headlines this week, the third component of an agriculture policy program, or APP, for Dominica kicked off on Monday. The APP hopes to increase productivity of small farm holders with an overall aim to reduce poverty. Also this week, the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Iscariot highlighted his government's efforts to make affordable and adequate housing easily available for every single Dominican, including public officers. For the benefit of public officers, the Government's Housing Loans Board has undergone a bit of reform. The Ministry of Social Services, Community Development and Gender Affairs, through the Bureau of Gender Affairs, held a two-day workshop on women in leadership and decision-making. This workshop aimed to provide women in these positions or who aspire to take up these roles the opportunity to sharpen their skills for the job. Also this week, work has commenced on the rehabilitation of a significant bridge in the Waterwaven community. A check of over $200,000 was presented by the Ministry of Public Works to the Waterwaven Development Committee for that project, which is part of government's overall goal to improve the roads in that part of the island. In more news this week, a contract has been signed for the expansion of a $700,000 water project in Point Michelle. The signing took place on Tuesday at the Point Michelle Village Council's inaugural meeting. 6 education professionals received awards of excellence at the National Excellence in Education Awards, which took place this week. Among them were Cornelia Bellet, Deli Francis, Keisha Remy, Samuel Oi, Greta Roberts, and Celia Nicholas. And Dominica's 36th Independence Celebration is finally here and is being observed under the theme, Our Nation, Our Responsibility. On behalf of the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Minister for Information, Ambo George, challenged Dominicans at the official opening of independence to do something different for the country this season. And those were the headline stories which made the news this week. Back to you, Jarna.
Thank you, Colette, and that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à ces nouvelles en créole. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, un projet chimique qui a progrès bien formidable en Fokani. Parole celle-là, sorti au Parlement, Honorable Dr. John Colin McIntyre.
Depuis le Hurricane David, nous tenions un problème là, comme si on avait fallu qui descend à la monde là. Avec ça, nous avons fait là, nous n'était jamais ni chimie encore. Et comme si c'est un dead end, nous savons que ce monde qui vient là, mais c'est pas comme si on chimie, c'est un chimie pour un neighborhood. So ça, nous avons dit, nous, Hurricane David passé, nous avons besoin de chimie. Moi, c'est un monde qui, moi, c'est monde Fokani, moi, c'est un parle pour Rose Valley, moi, c'est Fokani, mon fait. Avec ça, nous avons dit là, nous. C'est pas moun faut connaître nice moun tout le monde qui sorti alone on go kayola chimia mauvais so nous quand nous faire nous mettre un bon petit morceau concrète là pour chimia nous tarbai ça nous tarish nous taper la falaise avec nous faut bailler que fiber mesh et puis cimia on fait comme si des 6 inches on connaît ça qui inches à pas toi 6 inches comme c'est half a foot avec nous faire un bon petit chimia là pour tout ces monde là africains avec ça bailler ça moi le quitter bailler ça la mo fini avec mon quitter la tête moi le quitter chimie ça pour monde so tout jeune monde qui vient eh ben oui Dominique va partir nous supporter yo mais yo ka ban nous belle chimie.
En d'autres nouvelles et Banque Dominique on fait encore bien plaisir pour assister une institution pays là et puis programme yo. Banque là fait contribution $25,000 l'argent nous qui séparé pour cette institution tout un pays à Jordan. Si l'on chairman banque la Martin Charles, il y a bien plaisir pour te faire ces contributions là.
C'est pas nous qui prend l'argent de la communauté là, mais nous qui montrer la communauté là comment nous qui vivre pour différentes organisations pour ça conduire les affaires parce que nous savons l'argent c'est un butin qui va et aujourd'hui là il a fait un plaisir pour assister. Pottersville, c'est ti maman là qui apprend football, il apprend à l'école et il a fait nous plaisir aussi pour nous c'est ça bas monde qui a souffert avec cancer, avec toutes ces les autres organisations là, ouvrir pourquoi et quand on dit c'est $25,000 nous bas toutes différentes organisations pour ça conduire meilleur.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nous faire en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Ni un bon week-end. Au revoir.
One way to reduce your carbon footprint coming up next.
DOWASCO recognizes that clean water is vital to healthy living. Therefore, it spares no effort in providing a clean, safe, and reliable system. Help keep our rivers safe and clean. Do not cut trees along the river banks and do not pollute with garbage, human or animal feces, and chemicals. Think water, think life.
Your driving style affects your carbon footprint. Driving over the speed limit and excessive acceleration wastes gas and money. It also results in an unnecessarily higher carbon footprint. Do your part to protect your global environment. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and your comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GISNewsDominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching.